Hello friends, how are you? Welcome to the today's lecture where we are going to learn about the important characteristics of the order Eustylazinales. The fungi placed under the Eustylazinales are commonly known as smut fungi, and the smut fungi are more dangerous than the rust fungi because the infected plant do not show any morphological changes in the initial stages, but only when we can recognize the infected plants when teleospores are produced, that is at the grain filling stage. The single ear or even the grain from the infected ear is filled with this infected sori. So farmer left with nothing to harvest. That much important fungi today we learn about their characteristics. Coming to the classification, in my previous lectures also I explained this classification and there were four classifications. Generally, we will follow Ainsworth classification which was proposed during the year 1973. According to his classification, subdivision Basidiomycotina is further divided into three classes, that is Gasteromycetes, Hymenomycetes and Teleomycetes. Rust and smut fungi are placed under the class Teleomycetes. Coming to the detailed classification, the class Teleomycetes is further divided into two orders, that is Uridinales and Eustylazinales, where rust fungi are placed under the order Uridinales and smut fungi placed under the class order Eustylazinales. And this order Eustylazinales is further divided into two families, that is Eustylazinaceae and Teilaceaceae, based on the septation of the promycelium. In my previous lecture, I explained about the order Uridinales. So today we will learn about the smut fungi. Teleomycetes important characters, just we will remind once again. These include rust and smuts, and here basidiocarp is lacking, that is there is no tertiary mycelium, and this one replaced by thick walled teleospores. Teleospores are also known as here chlamydospores because they are produced asexually in sore within the host tissue. And this basidia, they arise from thick walled resting spores, that is teleospores or chlamydospores. That is teleospores, they will produce the promycelium and this promycelium will produce the basidiospores. And these members which are included in the class Teleomycetes, these are obligate parasites or facultative saprophytes. And this class Teleomycetes consists of two orders, Uridinales and Eustylazinales. So coming to the Eustylazinales, these fungi placed under the order Eustylazinales are commonly known as smut fungi, and the diseases caused by these fungi are known as smut diseases. Why the name smut disease or smut fungi it came? Because they used to produce them black dusty spore masses of teleospores, and teleospores here we are also called as chlamydospores because they used to produce in the manner of chlamydospores how from the intercalary mycelium, that is intercellular or terminally. And these dusty spore masses, they used to resemble soot which formed in the sori, and this sori used may be formed on the leaves, stems and flowers of the host plant. That's why these fungi are commonly known as smut fungi. And this order also includes another important group of fungi known as Basidiomycetes yeast. And smut fungi are highly host specific in nature and they are obligate parasites, but except Eustylazomaides, and it has a good saprobic growth in soil also. And if they are obligate parasites, why we also call them as a facultative saprobes? Because we can grow this smut fungi in the laboratory by using culture media. That's why they used to call it as facultative saprobes. And coming to the mycelium, so mycelium is intercellular. Intercellular means between the cells, the mycelium will spread and it produce the haustoria into the cells to absorb the nourishment. Whereas in Eustylazomaides, the mycelium is intracellular. That mycelium it penetrates within the cell and it produces the haustoria to obtain nutrients from the host plant. And the primary mycelium originates from the germination of Basidiospore or Conidia, and initially primary mycelium used to be monokaryotic, but in later stages it become dikaryotic, and there is no tertiary mycelium. So here only primary and secondary mycelium are present. There is no tertiary mycelium, hence there is no basidiocarp also. And mycelium generally do not develop profusely in artificial medium. Actually, when it used to be in the natural host, it automatically grow very profusely to obtain nutrients. But when we are culturing in the artificial media, the mycelium do not grow profusely. And here clamp connections are present while dolichopore septum is absent. Clamp connections are mainly helps in the dikaryoticization of the mycelium, and dolichopore septum helps in the movement of the cytoplasmic content between the cells. But here we have to remember the important characteristics here. Clamp connections are there, but dolichopore septum is absent. And previously in my lectures also I showed how the secondary mycelium, that is secondary hyphae, develops from the primary mycelium. Here primary mycelium is a short in phase, whereas secondary mycelium is long. There is no tertiary mycelium. Coming to the teleospores we also call here chlamydospores, and these teleospores are formed from intercalary as well as terminal cells of the dikaryotic mycelium. So after dicaryotization, the teleospores are formed from the intercalary cells. Here we can see in this picture, these are formed intercalary or they are formed from the terminal cells. These are the teleospores. And coming to the basidiospores, here basidiospores are also known as sporidia. Why we are calling sporidia means they used to multiply by budding. Here a short phase of budding also used to be there. That's why we also called the basidiospores as a sporidia. And these basidiospores are not produced on sterigmata, and these are not produced in a definite number, and they are not discharged violently. That means sessile basidiospores, and they released passively without any force. We have to remember the important characteristics of the smut fungi is production of sessile basidiospores which released passively, whereas rest fungi basidiospores released violently, and in case of Puccinia they used to produce on the sterigmata. So main difference between the Uridinales and Eustylazinales is the production of basidiospores on sterigmata in Uridinales and production of sessile basidiospores in Eustylazinales. Here you can see this is the promycelium, which may be septate or non-septate, and production of more number of basidiospores in some species and production of 4 basidiospores in few species. Coming to the asexual reproduction, how it will take place means it will take place by budding of sporidia, that is basidiospores, and they will bud and produce the secondary sporidia. This sporidia is also known as conidia because the spores produced through asexual reproduction we generally known as conidia. Coming to the sex organs, here there are no sex organs. So then how plasmogamy takes place? So there are some other mechanisms for which helps in the dicaryotization of the mycelium. What are those mechanisms? So there are 4 ways which helps in the dicaryotization, that is movement of these two nuclei, different nuclei within to the one mycelium. So that is either fusion takes place between the two promycelia of compatible mating types. This may takes place either before production of basidiospores, after production of basidiospores. That is, promycelia may have basidiospore or may do not produce basidiospores. So it will takes place any time, that is between the two promycelia of compatible mating types. And second one, between the basidiospores, so that is after production of basidiospores by the promycelium. So this fusion may takes place between the basidiospores on the promycelium itself or after detachment. So basidiospores released from the promycelium. So before detachment or after detachment it can takes place. And third one is between the primary hyphae inside the host tissue during early stages of infection. So plasmogamy takes place, or any combination of these three methods. So these are mechanisms which helps in the plasmogamy. And coming to the basidium, that is promycelium, that may be septate or non-septate in different species, and it may bear 4 basidiospores or many sporidia. You can see here in this picture where 4 basidiospores are there, and here many basidiospores are there. Coming to the teleospores. Teleospores are also known as teletospores, and how they used to produce. And here we have to remember one important characteristics of the smut fungi is this teletospores. This very important characteristic structure of this order Eustylazinales. And these teletospores are formed in very masses, means very large number they used to produce in developing sore at various places. Either they used to produce in flowers or leaves or stem. Initially, what will happen? This dikaryotic mycelium develops profusely in certain portions of the host plants. So, after developing, it will lay down many septa to form the small cells. So, these small cells, that is short cells, what they will do is the protoplasm of this short cell, they will round up themselves, and the hyphal wall surrounding this short cell, it become gelatinized. So, and then this protoplasm secretes a thick wall around this cell, which can protect the teletospores, and it converts the protoplasm into round teleospores. Here you can, I will show in the next slide how these teleospores are produced, that is short cells. So the entire process of teletospore formation resembles the chlamydospores. That's why we called here these teletospores are also as chlamydospores. Here you can see in this picture, this is the life cycle of Telesia tritici. Here, this is the mycelium. This mycelium profusely branched between the cells, and it produces many septa where they form as a short cells. These short cells, the protoplasm presence in these short cells, they become round up, and the hyphal wall around this cell become gelatinized, and this protoplasm secretes a thick wall and convert themselves as a teletospores. So these teletospores are produced either intercalary, that is between the cells, or they are produced terminally. And this is the formation of teletospores. And these spores are formed in the manner of chlamydospore. I already told, that's why these are also known as chlamydospores. And this is the main important characteristics for identification of these Eustylazinales, because these teletospores have different ornamentations on the surface. So based on that ornamentation, we can identify that which genus it is. That is, ornamentation means that teletospores may be reticulate, or they may be spiny, or they may be tuberculate or smooth surface. And generally spores are used to be round in shape, that is globose, and they are sessile. They do not produce any, they do not have any pedicellate like structure, and they are one celled and variously colored, like they are having different colors. They may be brown color, black color or yellow color, and they either free from one another or held together to form the spore balls. So teletospores, they may present as individual spores, or they may present as a spore balls. And when they are forming the spore balls, in the spore balls, some teletospores are fertile and some teletospores are sterile. So the promycelium will develop from this fertile teletospores. This is the production of teletospores. Here we can see the various types of smut spores. Here you can see it is having the smooth surface, and it is having reticulate, and here presence of sterile cells and the fertile cells. Here you can see spore balls, how they are forming the spore balls. These are produced in different genera. Here you can see various species, Eustylazo levis and this is the Eustylazo maedis, and C is the Telesia caris, and D Urocystis sepilae in onion. So these are the various types of spores, that is teleospores, produced in smut fungi. Coming to the diseases, they used to cause the diseases, smut diseases or bunt diseases. So this order Eustylazinales is further divided into two families based on the mode of teleospore germination. That is, one family is Eustylazinaceae and second family is Tiliaceae. In Eustylazinaceae, it produces the septate promycelium bearing the basidiospores terminally and laterally. In this picture, here we can see the teleospore germination where the septate promycelium is produced, that is cross walls, and it produces the four basidiospores. These basidiospores may produce here terminally or laterally. Coming to the Tiliaceae, here promycelium is hollow, that means non-septate, and this promycelium, that is epibasidium, it bearing the basidiospores terminally. So this is the main difference between the Eustylazinaceae and Tiliaceae. That is septate promycelium in Eustylazinaceae and hollow promycelium or non-septate promycelium in Tiliaceae. Coming to the family Eustylazinaceae, Eustylazinaceae, the fungi involved in this family are generally known as smut fungi, and promycelium is septate, and basidiospores produced either laterally or terminally from each cell of the promycelium. And genera included under this family Eustylazinaceae are Eustylazo, Sphacilotheca and Toleposporium. So how we can identify these genera? So let us see. First one is the Eustylago. In Eustylago, teleospores are single, that means single teleospores are produced, and sore is dusty at maturity. They used to give dusty like appearance. And here important character we have to remember is that sore covered peridium, that is host origin, means the membrane covering this sorus, that is host origin in nature. This is the important characteristics of Eustylazo. Coming to the Sphacilotheca, in Sphacilotheca also teleospores are single in nature and sore is dusty at maturity. Here the membrane covering the sore, that is made up of fungal cells, though that is fungal origin in nature. In Eustylazo, that is host origin in nature. In Sphacilotheca, it is fungi origin in nature. And central columella is used to be present in Sphacilotheca. So this is also important character for Sphacilotheca, central columella and the membrane covering the sore, that is origin of fungal cells. Coming to the Toleposporium most important character is spores used to be arranged in the balls, that is spore balls. And spore balls used to be permanent in nature and they used to adhere by thickening of the exospore. So here these are the important characteristics for identifying the genera Eustylazo, Sphacilotheca and Toleposporium. Spore balls are present in the Toleposporium. Sphacilotheca important character is central columella plus membrane covering the sore is fungal origin. In Eustylago it is host origin. To the diseases caused by these genera. Important diseases. First one is the loose smut of wheat caused by Eustylazo nuda TTC, and short smut of jowar, also known as grain smut or kernel smut of jowar, that is caused by Sphacilotheca sorgi, and loose smut of jowar, Sphacilotheca cruenta, head smut of jowar caused by Sphacilotheca liliana, and long smut of jowar caused by Toleposporium ehrenbergii. So how many types of smut diseases are there in the jowar? There are 4 types of smut diseases. One is short smut of jowar, loose smut of jowar, head smut of jowar and long smut of jowar. And in bajra, smut disease caused by Toleposporium pensiliaria. We have to remember all these examples and the pathogen scientific names, because in examination point of view we will ask the scientific names of these pathogens. So these are very important. Coming to the family Tiliaceae. So Tiliaceae we have to remember hollow promycelium or non-septate promycelium. Generally the fungi included in the family Tiliaceae are known as bunt, and promycelium is non-septate and basidiospores are produced terminally. Here we can see here the key identification of genera is mainly what are the different genera and how we can identify these genera. Let us see. First one is the Tiliaceae. In Tiliaceae, teleospores used to be single in nature and spores are dusty and they will escape at maturity. And how they will escape at maturity? Because of wind. Through wind they will spread throughout the other crop, and the entire field they will spread and cause the diseases, and they will multiply and cause the disease in new emerging crop also. And here important characteristic we have to remember in Tilacea is sporidia, that is basidiospores are fused to form H-shaped structures. Here you can see they are forming the H-shaped structure. That is sporidia is also known as basidiospores. Basidiospores, previously I told that basidiospores are also known as sporidia because they can multiply through budding. That's why we called it as a sporidia. So here Tilacea sporidia fuse to form H-shaped structures. Coming to the next genera, Neovasia. Here Neovasia also, teleospores are single and spores are dusty in nature. They will escape at maturity through the wind, and sporidia do not fuse and there is no H-shaped structure. Here we can see the difference. Here there is no H-shaped structure. Here you can see very clear cut H-shaped structures formed by sporidia. This is the difference between Tilacea and Neovasia. Coming to the third genera, Urocystis. Urocystis teletospores are used to be present in the spore balls. Here you can see the spore balls. In spore balls, some teletospores are fertile and some teletospores are sessile in nature. And sori used to be dusty in nature, and the spore balls are surrounded by an adhering layer of hyaline sterile cells. Here you can see these are the hyaline cells which are sterile in nature. That means they do not produce promycelium. Only fertile teleospores used to produce the promycelium. And spore balls escape from the sorus after maturity. And what are the important diseases caused by this genera under family Tilaceaceae? First one is the bunt of wheat that caused by Tilacea caris and Tilacea foetida. Second, bunt of paddy caused by Neovasia horrida. And third, canal bunt of wheat, Neovasia indica. Onion smut, this is very important disease. Urocystis cepae, they used to produce smut sore on scales. And flag smut of wheat caused by Urocystis tritici. These are the very important diseases caused by Tilacea. So today we learned about the important characteristics of the Eustelazinales order and Eustelazinaceae and Tilaceaceae and various genera included under the Eustelazinaceae and Tilaceaceae, and how to identify these genera, and what is the difference between Eustelazinaceae and Tilaceaceae. So this is the today's lecture, and if you find this lecture is very useful for you, please share with your friends. And thank you for your keen interest in this video, and remember to like and subscribe for more videos. I wish you great success, health, prosperity and happiness. Thank you.